So yeah, I'm Luke. I'm going to be talking about mock in production. I'm not here to tell you what it is. I'm here to bewilder you and amaze you. Yeah, I'm Kixelated, aka Luke. I was at Twitch for almost 8 years. I made mock initially while at IVS. Then they pivoted really hard to WebRTC, and for some reason, I went to Discord where I worked on WebRTC. And I kind of realized that my life calling now, aka my midlife crisis, is to work on media over quick. So for the last 2 years, I've just been working full time on it open source. So you can go to moq.dev. It's Rust and TypeScript libraries, and I'm just doing whatever it takes to try to make people use this protocol, which means build it for them. So what is mock? I'm not going to go into the details. Ali already did that. I'm going to spare you. But it is an IETF draft. IETF is the standards organization with such hits such as HTTP and TCP and DNS. So we're still working through. It's been almost 5 years, I think, since I wrote the first draft of mock transport, and then had my name removed as an author a few drafts later. Drama, I won't go into it. But it will be an RFC. It will be something that will be there. It will be a standard. If people use standards as, up to, companies. But the plan is for generic live media fan out. The idea is we don't like this world where you have to pick a protocol based on your use case. It's like, oh, I want low latency. I'll use WebRTC real time. I want slightly higher latency. It's like, oh, I have to switch protocols now. Or I want contribution. Oh, I have to switch protocols now again. And you end up in this world where you just have different stacks based on, honestly, really minute use case differences. Like we use HLS, for example, for distribution. And the only reason we don't use it for contribution is that, it's a server, I guess. Like you always have to wonder, like, why do we need these protocols to be so different? And mock is ambitiously trying to be like one protocol to do everything mediocre. But it's better than that. We're also not targeting just media. The M in mock is meant to be for media, but now it's morphed into something a bit more generic than that. We're building something probably closer to HTTP, where we just have tracks. And the tracks can have opaque binary data. It doesn't have to be audio and video. And people are already taking advantage of that. I had somebody mention they're using it to synchronize Postgres databases. And I'm like, why are you using mock for Postgres sync? And it's like, well, because it's a pub-sub protocol at the end of the day. So why quick? It's because people keep using UDP and you doing it pretty poorly. So the internet is this mystical black box where you send something and it might arrive on the other side. It might be delayed. It might never arrive, of course. And it's really hard to figure out what you're supposed to do when your data doesn't get there. And there's been a lot of attempts, like RTP, and WebRTC does a really good job. But it's very easy to get it wrong. It's very easy to build a custom protocol on top of UDP that just kind of like learns as it goes. So what we're proposing here is use Quick. Quick is this brand new protocol. Not brand new. It's been a few years now. But it powers HTTP 3. It's RFC 9000. And most importantly, it is available in browsers. That's always been the limiting factor. There's something called Web Transport, which is the equivalent of WebSocket. So the idea is that you can have a quick connection in the browser, or you can use H3 if you want. But really critically, this has been the reason why we've been stuck with WebRTC. It's been the only way we can get real time in the browser, because the next best option has been TCP. And we have head-of-line blocking, and you just can't really go. Your latency eventually hits a wall. But now we have something better. Now we have something that we can build on top of instead of being forced to use WebRTC. And that's why I'm super into mock. But that's not why other people are super into mock. I'm going to go over a use case. This is, I would say, like the first production use case, or a really good use case for mock. And it's not one you would expect. It's not one I would expect working on video games, honestly. So you're on a boat. You're on a boat, you got a camera, and you're sailing in the middle of the ocean. And you want to stream that video. And these days you use Starlink. It's really cool. You can just stream cameras from your boat over Starlink. But hypothetically, you get attacked by a kraken. So this is some footage from one of the boats. They have 9 cameras, and there's a Kraken right in the middle. And the Kraken decides to jam Starlink because apparently it can. And you have limited bandwidth all of a sudden. And really what it comes down to is deciding what different protocols do in this scenario. So WebRTC, which is what most of companies use on these boats, is designed for conferencing. It's designed to drop video. It's like if you're ever on your phone and you like hit like network hiccup, the video freezes or it doesn't recover. It just turns off because it's very aggressive. It wants 100 milliseconds or else latency, effectively. And this isn't great because you end up getting nothing and you end up like losing control of the boat. The Kraken takes it down, whatever. So the solution is don't use WebRTC. So effectively what you can do instead is you can use your limited bandwidth to try to deliver the most important media first. You're not going to be able to deliver all of it. Some of it's going to sit in RAM, and it might get delivered eventually. But we want to send that Kraken. We want to send the front-facing cameras, and we want to send the newest data first. And how do you do that? You just prioritize. You effectively can mark which feeds should be sent first. You can mark if newer data should be sent before older data. And then you have one shared quick connection that all cooperates to make sure that we send the Kraken first. And if we have spare bandwidth, we can go and send the other cameras. And this is temporal as well. We can go back and maybe this footage from 30 seconds ago, maybe we recover, and we can actually go back and send that old data and make sure the VOD is pristine. As opposed to WebRTC that just kind of gives up immediately, moq we kind of just prioritize, and maybe later we can make things whole when network recovers. And you get this fan-out behavior. So if you've ever worked on an HTTP CDN, this should look very familiar, where effectively we only forward the data if somebody actually subscribes to it, somebody wants it. So we might have a 360p feed, 360p feed, 360p feed, whatever, the green arrow. It can go to an AI agent at the top. It can go to viewers. The idea is if somebody subscribes to it, we'll make sure it gets sent there. And if they don't subscribe to it, we make sure it doesn't get sent. And you can extend this to other renditions. Maybe we were producing or advertising 1080p this whole time, this red arrow, but the AI model didn't think it was necessary, so it wasn't being requested. As soon as we see there's a Kraken, now all of a sudden we start transmitting that 1080p. The idea is this is a pub/sub protocol. So you effectively, we're not doing a push-based thing like SRT or WebRTC or all these things. It's a pull-based model. And if nobody wants it, doesn't go over Starlink, much cheaper. So this is being used on this boat. There's a company called Saronic. They're worth like $10 billion now. And they have autonomous drones in the ocean. They were in the news because 2 pilots were rescued off of Iran. And it turns out uses moq. So they were actually driving the boat using moq instead of WebRTC. There's some other companies I'm working with. Again, this very similar use case where they just try WebRTC is not great. Unfortunately, I do have to redact them. Some of the drones are of the explodey variety, I've learned. But they are even using moq to fly the drones, as in it is not media specific, so you can just make a track for controls. So you can make a JSON track for controls, and then you can now fly the drone. Or you could do telemetry. You can send it back, send the location of the drone over just a separate metadata track. We're not specific to media. We're effectively just a real-time pub/sub protocol. So there's a company folding with T-shirts, robots that fold T-shirts. Again, they're just sending the joystick controls over moq. Working with another company that's driving giant trucks, autonomous trucks. It's terrifying. But I'm setting up a steering wheel, so you can turn the steering wheel, and it just, again, sends it as a track over moq. So this is the main use case. All of these use Starlink or cellular. That's the current bottleneck, really, is like, when you have degraded network conditions, you want to make sure some stuff gets through, and it turns out the controls for driving the truck or the metadata are more important than video in a lot of cases. What else? So this is stuff that's upcoming in the future. Personally, I made moq for Twitch, and there's a lot of stuff still to implement for that, but there's a lot of much easier use cases that people are working on. So I think the #1 thing is probably like broadcast TV, because there's not much difference between Starlink and a satellite truck. End of the day. Even in my libraries, we now have a contribution. Now we can now take in transport streams convert them to moq, and then on the other end, convert them back to transport streams. So you can use whatever encoders you want to use. I don't care. There's also voice AI. So there was a Hacker News post I had that went viral, where it's just like dumping on OpenAI for using WebRTC. And there's now support in Pipecat for using moq for instead of WebRTC or in addition to it for voice AI. So text-to-speech, speech-to-text, whatever. And of course, security cameras. It turns out drones are just security cameras, but with controls. So it's really nice when you have a bunch of cameras that all connect and they all say, I publish video, but they wait. They wait for somebody to watch the camera feed, and then it gets transmitted. Or they wait for somebody to request 1080p, and then it gets transmitted, and as opposed to a constant flood and fire hose of data being pushed up, which you just usually can't afford for security cameras. There are some CDNs and some offerings. So I personally am working on something, moq.pro. Basically, I'm working with enough of these companies. They're like, hey, can you just host the stuff for me so I don't have to host it? And I'm like, sure, give me money. But everything is open source, everything that I'm working on. And some of the other companies and CDNs rumored to be working on moq. I'm not going to officially confirm or deny anything, but there's blog posts, there's people posting on GitHub. Cloudflare, Akamai, Fastly, AWS, Oracle, probably a few more. Either using my libraries or making their own. It is an open standard. That's one of the benefits. Is you can be involved, and yeah, we just want to make sure that this is successful. And part of that is getting in production more than anything else. And that's my #1 focus. So yeah, I'm Luke. Again, moq.dev is the website. Just hit me up if you have any questions about Media Over Quick.